Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I just want to welcome everybody to this meeting this morning. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day for something that I believe is very important and critical. My name is Norm Kairos. I am a director for Southwest Riverside County Association of Realtors, and I am also your legislative chairman for 2020 for SRCAR. So just a couple of housekeeping notes. The meeting will be 2.5 hours long, going from 9 o'clock to 11:30. If you have any questions or comments, please use the Q&A button. We prefer you type your question in the Q&A box so it doesn't get lost in the chat room. Questions will be answered at the end of all city managers' presentations. Questions that have been uploaded will be addressed first. You can upload a question by clicking the thumbs up. This lets us know this topic is of high importance to a lot of the attendees. The primary mission of the Legislative Committee is to increase awareness and participate in the Realtor Action Fund. The secondary mission of the Legislative Committee is to support our government affairs directors, Adam Ruiz, Walter Wilson, and Gene Wunderlich. We meet the second Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. So please reach out to us if you'd like to participate in that. Question what the Realtor Action Fund is about. It was created to promote and protect our businesses. We promote our values, attitudes, and beliefs of organized real estate. We fight against point of sale bills, independent contractor withholding, service taxes, and we also fight to protect our mortgage interest deduction. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Walter Wilson. He'll be moderating our meeting this morning.
Good morning all, and thanks. Gene Wunderlich wanted to address everyone for a few minutes this morning, but he got tied up into something else, and he'll be joining us later. And he does appreciate everyone that has come today, both participants and the presenters. This is just going to be an incredible morning for realtors. Realtors learn so much at this meeting. We look forward to it every year. Because not only do realtors just sell homes, we sell quality of life. And that's what we're going to be hearing today. The quality of life in all the surrounding cities that we have. So you didn't come here to listen to me, of course. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we have on the list Mr. Mike Lee. He's the interim city manager of Moreno Valley. So Mike, if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Norm, and also Sylvia for arranging this. I'm always excited that I could come out and have the opportunity to do a presentation to showcase what's happening in the beautiful city of Moreno Valley. So with that, I have a PowerPoint presentation I'd like to share with everybody. If I could start that. All right, can everybody see that? Yes, all right. So Moreno Valley, so welcome to the city of Moreno Valley. It's our beautiful city. And just a little bit of background about what's happening in Moreno Valley. Moreno Valley, we're the second largest city in Riverside County, 21st in the state of California by population. Our population right now is over 213,000 people. And we're growing at about a 4.55% annual growth rate. And over a 20-mile trade area around Moreno Valley, over 2.3 million people live in this area. We are still considered one of the fastest growing cities in the Inland Empire. We're also home to many Fortune 500 and international companies with our large companies and also a very robust small business community. We're over 4,500 business strong. We're relatively young population. We're about a 32.2 median age, but we're on a very aggressive job growth in our city. So in the past 7 years alone, we have created over 21,000 new jobs in our city. And just on transportation, of course, you know, we're serviced by the 60 and 215. There is a Metrolink station servicing Moreno Valley and Perris. And also we have our own airport, which is the March Inland Port Airport. So a lot of the CEOs in our companies, they could actually fly their private jet into the airport, which shares the same runway as the military base. So this is the city of Moreno Valley. We're about 51.3 square miles. It's a fairly large city in size. As a comparison, the city of Moreno Valley, we're actually larger than the city of San Francisco, Ontario, Anaheim, even Boston in land size. So on this one, you'll see a lot of the brown areas. Those are our commercial centers. We have about 44 shopping districts and commercial centers. The blue area are our industrial sectors. So we have 3 main industrial sectors. The yellow area is what's called the World Logistics Center. This is a large industrial corporate business park over 40.6 million square feet of the future industrial commercial developments. And it's going to take over 2,700 acres. That's on the east side of town. And of course, we're also served by the military base, which is right outside of the city boundaries. As I mentioned, we have a tremendous job growth in the past 7 years, over 21,000 new jobs in the past 7 years. And what's really contributed to the job growth is a lot of the large industrial companies have come to the city, a lot of Fortune 500 and international companies. Amazon, we actually have 2 Amazon facilities in our city taking over 2 million square feet. We actually have people shop at Whole Foods, and most people don't know this, but Whole Foods supplier is called a company called UNFI. So if you shop at Whole Foods, most of the groceries are coming out of Moreno Valley. Harmon, Cannon, and Ross, they have facilities in our city. We also have Floor & Decor. Their Western Regional Distribution Center is in Moreno Valley. So if you go shop at Floor & Decor, those products are probably coming out of Moreno Valley. Lowe's, we have 2 facilities in Lowe's. So if you buy appliances either online or at the Lowe's stores, those are coming out of Moreno Valley. Soda Mattress, those mattresses are cheap commercials. So those are actually made in Moreno Valley. So if you buy a Soda mattress, those are coming out of Moreno Valley. Decker's brand, the makers of UGG boots. So if you buy UGG boots, those are coming out of Moreno Valley. Skechers USA, they take over 1.8 million square feet of space right off the freeway. So if you buy any of the Skechers products, those are coming out of Moreno Valley. Aldi Foods, they have their Western Regional headquarters in our city, taking over 823,000 square feet space. So if you go to Aldi grocery stores, a lot of them are popping up in a lot of the cities. Well, they are all the produce and most of the products, they're all coming out of Moreno Valley. We also had manufacturers. We have Karma Automotive. There's high-end luxury hybrid vehicles. They're about $140,000 each. Those cars are made in Moreno Valley. We also have Procter & Gamble, their largest distribution center in the West Coast. That is actually also in Moreno Valley. And we also have some medical device manufacturers such as Fisher Paykel, that is a New Zealand company, and ResMed, that's a California company. They're both out of Moreno Valley. So as I mentioned, a lot of the growth is industrial growth. The last year alone, over 5 million square feet of industrial space under construction, also leased and absorbed. And these are just some of the large industrial companies that have come in the last few years. For example, Harbor Freightel, they're actually in 4 different buildings in Moreno Valley, taking over 2.5 million square feet of space. And Lowe's, as I mentioned earlier, they're now in 2 different buildings, taking over 2.1 million square feet of space. And Skechers USA, if you drive by the freeway, you can see construction that's happening right now. They're in 1.8 million square feet of space, but they started waiting on a phase 2 expansion for 750,000 square feet, which is going to be right adjacent to the existing Skechers building. As a result of a lot of the job growth, we're also seeing a lot of residential growth, and we're seeing very, very strong signs in that area. Our average home value has now increased to over $386,000. I think it was just last month, it was a $30,000 increase on the home value alone. Right now, as we speak, we have over 4,400 single-family units that are either approved, entitled, under construction, and over 2,900 multifamily units that are approved, entitled, under construction. So we continue to work with our residential developers to make sure we have enough pipeline of residential units in the supply chain, so that as we increase more jobs capacity, people are buying homes. One thing I do want to tout is in our city alone, in the past 5 years, we're able to increase the average household income from $63,000 to $85,000 in the past 5 years. And why is that important? Because as we create more jobs, the people are having higher disposable income. They're now buying homes, they're buying cars, they're going to our restaurants, and they're going to our malls and buying things. So that really helps the economy of the city. Now, the growth is not just catered to industrial alone. We're also seeing a lot of growth on the medical sector. We have really 2 large medical campuses in our city. First is the Riverside University Health System. This is what we call the county hospital. They just recently opened up their new 200,000 square foot medical office building and that opened up several months ago. And this is one of 6 medical office buildings that's slated to be under construction in the next, probably next 5 to 10 years. Also, Kaiser Permanente, we just approved a large master plan expansion of over 1.25 million square feet of hospital expansion for the next 10 to 20 years. So they're under construction for the phase 1 of their expansion plan. Just in the past 5 years, over 2,400 new healthcare jobs has been created in our city. And with the expansion of these 2 hospital chains, we're looking at more jobs to be created in the next several years. As you know, for our residents, we're also increasing our amenities for our residents. Most people don't know this. We actually have a lot of parkland in the city. We have over 546 acres of parkland in Moreno Valley. We have 32 parks. We also have a municipal golf course, a dog park, an equestrian center. We also have lots of trails that we have to maintain, and over 25 multi-use trails totaling over 15 miles. We also have 4 different community centers that are throughout the whole city. We also have 3 libraries. Just this week, we opened up a 3rd library branch. And so all of our 3 libraries are now open. We also have a city-owned animal shelter. And also, we also did a groundbreaking for a new park that happened last week, what's called Santiago Park. That will be our 33rd park. And by next year, that'll be done. And also, right now, we're under construction for a new amphitheater right by the City Hall. That will be a 600-seat amphitheater, and that should be completed by October of this year. Also, we're creating a lot of different events and programming for our residents. As you know, we have over 200,000+ residents in our city, so there's a lot of programmings that we do and provide for our residents. We have over 25 annual special events that we run through our Parks Department. We also have a lot of sports leagues, also adult sport leagues that utilize a lot of our parks and also our facilities. We do on an annual basis over 80 classes running out of our community centers. And also we have different entertainment programming either within the city or right outside the city. As you know, the March Air Fest is a big air show. And we also participate with the base on a lot of their activities. We have a weekly farmers market at City Hall that's very popular. And also we are the main entrance to the Lake Perris recreational area, and that's has provided a lot of hotel stay at a lot of the hotels that we have been constructing in the past few years. And how do we get to be so good at what we're doing? Well, we have a very innovative government, and anytime when we have large businesses that want to come in, we will assemble what's called the Go Mobile Strike Team. A lot of times we're meeting with large CEOs of companies. They want to make sure that we're here to be a partner with them to help them through the process so that they could come in and bring their company in our city and also invest millions of dollars in our city and also help them with their job recruitment. We have what's called a concierge approach. A lot of the CEOs, they have my cell phone, they have my direct line, and they could call me at any time and we respond to them quickly. And they really do appreciate that type of concierge service that we provide them. And it's not just from the city manager's office all the way down to our organization. We want to make sure that we're very responsive to a lot of our clients. And so we have a policy of, within 24 hours, we're going to respond to you either by a phone call or email, or just letting you know that we did receive your message and we are looking into whatever concerns or questions that you may have. The city also have invested a lot of money into innovation and also trying to offer online permitting. Several years ago, the City Council approved a $2 million funding for our Simplicity program. So right now, a lot of our permits can be issued online, and we have different modules in which we're expanding our capacity. So eventually, and this is perfect for what's happening right now, is that because we made the investment, we really haven't shut the doors out in City Hall. We have been operating and providing service to our development communities to make sure all the projects are still going through the process and all the inspections are happening. We're still doing plan checks online and all the things that are expected of city services, we're doing them right now. We also have created various incentive programs for our large businesses and also small businesses, make sure that we have different ways to entice them to come to our city. We have our own utility company, electric utility company, so we can offer different incentive rates to entice large companies to come in. So for example, when Karma Automotive came to our city, they're being enticed by Nevada, Texas, and all the other states. You know, auto manufacturing, it's a highly sought after entity to have. We were working very closely with Governor's Go-Biz office, and because we have our electric utility and we're able to offer them some discount rate, they really like what we have to offer, and so they signed a long-term lease 4 years ago, and they're building cars in Southern California. We also have various incentives. The mayor and city council was very, very proactive in developing a higher local program. So we're actually paying companies that if you hire locally, we'll pay you some money to hire a Moreno Valley resident. The other thing that we focus on is we want to make sure that we have a pool of labor to help our companies coming in. So we actually have a city-run employment resource center in which a lot of the companies have utilized to do their job fairs. So for a CEO coming to a city, and I could tell them, hey, I have my own employment resource center, and you need to fill, what, 300 people? Well, we have a database of 20,000 people locally looking for work, and we have done various job fairs. So a lot of the companies coming in, they don't have to hire a third-party job placement firm. They come directly to us, and we can help them recruit most of the skilled labor that they're looking for. The city is also part of foreign trade zone designation, and we have different programs that we could offer for other type of developments. As I mentioned, our workforce is increasing. We have a very skilled workforce, now over 88,000 strong. And if you look at the whole trade area around Moreno Valley, in a 20-mile trade area, we're over 1.1 million workforce strong. We also partner up with a lot of our educational institutions to upskill a lot of the needs of our large businesses. We have relationships with University of California, Riverside with their Anderson School of Business. We also have a relationship with Cal Baptist University. They actually run a satellite office over at our Employment Resource Center. And also, Moreno College, we're developing curriculums and programs, career technical education program with the college to help a lot of our employers help train some of the employees that they have. And as I mentioned, we have our City-One Employment Resource Center. It actually helps both the residents in looking for jobs, in which they come for job fairs, and we have computers in there, and they could apply for jobs. But we're running a lot of job recruitments with our large employers out of the Employment Resource Center. During the whole COVID-19 pandemic, we actually kept our Employment Resource Center open so that we could provide assistance to our residents, and so they could utilize, we have over 30 computers in there, and utilize the computers to help them look for jobs or other technical assistance that they may be looking for. So that concludes my presentation. Once again, my name is Mike. I'm the city manager for the city, and that's my email address and my direct telephone number. Happy to talk to anybody who wants to talk more about Moreno Valley. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. I guess we'll keep moving. We'll again put your questions in the Q&A down below instead of the chat, so we can get those together and have that answer your questions answered at the end. We'll move on over to Beaumont. We have Mr. Todd Parton, who's the city manager of Beaumont, with us. So, Mr. Parton, the floor is yours, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here with everybody again this morning. It's hard to believe it's just been a little bit over a year since we did this the last time. The interesting thing with these presentations is to kind of hear what's happening around our region. And whenever we hear Moreno Valley speak, it's really kind of exciting because they are an anchor that really help basically the rest of us grow and evolve and develop. So, so when you look at that job center, it really is reflective of what's going on within our community. We did an economic development strategic plan and study that we adopted last year. And one of the components of that study was to look at where our employment base is traveling within our region. And not surprisingly, a third of Beaumont employment base actually drives down to Moreno Valley to go to work. About another third of it drives towards San Bernardino County, and then the other third basically stays within the Banning and Beaumont area. So it's definitely critical. We see that impact in our community, and we're definitely a beneficiary for a strong regional economy. With our location, we're seeing a lot of very positive growth, especially this last year has been pretty active. And even with COVID and everything else that's been going on, wildfires, all the other things we've all been dealing with, the development process has not really halted much at all. A couple of key things that happened for us from the economic jobs front. We've probably added close to 5,000 jobs this last year alone. For those of y'all familiar with the San Gregorio Village Shopping Center, that's our regional retail center that's located off of 2nd Street and Highland Springs, down in that area. We just actually last night, Cane's opened up, and In-N-Out opened up about 2 weeks ago. We've got grocery outlets, some major retailers, which have all been opening in the last several weeks. One of the other key elements of that shopping center is the opening of a Cinema West cinema down there. So it's a 12-screen movie theater that'll be opening up. They're still targeting to be open by Thanksgiving and be ready for the holiday season. So those are all kind of neat things. Those are kind of anchor retail things that are happening down in that area, definitely adding some quality of life. One of the other components that will be coming in, the other anchor that is under construction, is a Planet Fitness. We're excited about that. Planet Fitness is one of the fitness companies that actually has been doing fairly well through the pandemic. Their business model is one that has been able to survive and expand and grow in this process. So we think that'll be a good anchor for that area down there. But near and dear to my heart, Sonic's open down there. And for somebody from North Central Texas, Sonic's and Dairy Queens, you just can't go anywhere without finding one. So it's nice to get your slushie there. It's amazing. On the other primary job front, we are getting ready for our Amazon distribution center, fulfillment center, to open this month. One of the things that we do with the city is we help to facilitate job recruitment fairs and efforts. Amazon is in the process of hiring 3,600 employees. They are going to start taking shipments into the center, like I said, within the next couple weeks. They plan to be in full operation, full distribution within the next 6 to 8 weeks. So they're getting ramped up and they're going. The other businesses that are evolving and growing down there, CJ Foods opened up about 2 years ago with their phase 1 project. They currently hire about 130 employees. We've just approved plans for them to add a new manufacturing line to their products. They've hired and bought out some logistics. They actually bought out Swans to get hold of their distribution and logistics facilities and infrastructure. So they're developing and evolving their market all the way very deep, from logistics all the way through to manufacturing and supply. They've just picked up some major contracts with Costco to provide dumplings and some prepackaged frozen foods. So that's pretty exciting. There's another 2.5 million square feet of industrial building that's already entitled. Speaking with the developer last week, he's got 2 other logistics and fulfillment center prospects that he's bringing in. We expect to see plans being submitted for those prospects within probably the next 6 months. They're working on the core infrastructure right now. So down in that area, primary road extensions have occurred. Core infrastructure has been finalized, and so some final paving and road construction is happening down in that area. That's along the Highway 60 corridor. So, that's another kind of major event that's happening within our community. The picture behind me is the picture of the Sundance Corporate Center. These are 3 of the initial towers that are under construction. The one over my left shoulder is building C. That building is actually open now. There's an urgent care facility in it. Each of these buildings is about 50,000 square feet of medical office building. The pre-leasing for these buildings has been through the roof. So much so that they're looking at another 2 to 3 buildings that they're going to put on this property. This is located at 8th Street in Highland Springs. So it's really the first Class A medical office building park that we've had constructed in a number of years. So this is pretty exciting. On the other side of the street, you get into Banning, and there's a companion project to this one, commercial corner right on the other side. And so that one is probably going to be a little bit more retail and service oriented. We did tell the developer he needs to leave our Stater brothers alone. Do not take our grocery store across the street. So we'll see, how that goes. So we've got these components going. Right now, the business interest in pretty much all of our corridors and along all of our major retail frontages, there's quite a bit of interest right now. We're getting calls consistently as we're kind of fielding through. So, there's just a sustained interest that has been a little bit surprising to us, considering kind of the economic climate and things that have been happening. In terms of our residential construction activity, in 17 and 18, we were seeing about probably about 700, 750 new homes being built a year. We were down to about 530 new permits that we issued in 2019. We think we're on track to probably hit about 500 or so new homes for this year coming up. Party Homes is one of our biggest builders in Beaumont, and they have reported that they have continued to see record numbers of permit and home sales within their company. So they're setting records for historical records. So these aren't just year to year, these are all-time records that they're seeing. They are also building across the street in their portion in Banning as well. So Banning is selling out on those products on their side. So, we're seeing a major increase, in Banning. Cal Mesa on the other side has a summer wind project. It's entitled for about 3,000, 4,000 homes over there. They're into, I think, their 3rd and 4th segments that are under construction as well. So, all around us. So Beaumont's continuing to grow. We're growing at still about a 3 to 3.5% compound interest rate, or compound percentage growth year over year in population. And we're excited to see our neighbors start to see some of that growth as well. To accommodate all this, we've needed to work on some core infrastructure pieces and some core quality of life pieces to continue to help the city grow and move on to the next levels. So one of the things that we're very proud of is the fact that we are nearing completion and full operations of our brand new wastewater treatment plant. That plant is replacing an old tertiary treatment system that was permitted for 4 million gallons a day. We've been pushing about 3.7 million gallons a day peak of wastewater through our plant. So we've needed to upgrade that. So we actually started running sewer flow through our new 6 MGD plant this last week. So that plant should be fully up and running. So I guess only city managers may get excited about that, and real estate agents about sewer plants, but that's a very amazing thing. It's a top of the line MBR plant. We actually have an RO system that will actually treat the effluent that comes out of the MBR, the membrane system. The critical issue for that is that it helps us meet our water quality mandates for the Beaumont Basin. But even more importantly than that, it actually allows us to be able to generate a large volume of Title 22 quality recycled water. We're talking with the Beaumont Cherry Valley Water District about entering into an agreement, a contract to be able to convey or sell that water to them, which we think we can provide at a much lower cost than other raw water supplies are costing, throughout some of that other makeup water. To look at what that plant means to us at full build out, assuming about 100,000 population, we'll be providing about a third of our raw water supply through recycled water out of that plant. So we're very excited. That plant's expandable to be able to expand out to meet our ultimate projected growth demand. So we should be in good shape. We'll have capacity and we'll be expandable as we move forward with that project. So that's a critical thing to continue to support the housing market activity that's going on, in addition to all the commercial activity that's happening. Another component that we're looking at is on the infrastructure side is trying to address our transportation needs. So this last year we opened up the Potrero interchange overpass. That's basically a 4-lane divided bridge that crosses over 60 and goes down into our evolving industrial park. There are some additional ramps that need to be built at the 60 Potrero interchange, and Potrero ultimately will link down to 79. So we're working on plans for that extension. We're also nearing completion. We're about 99% complete on the ramp plans to move that project forward. The challenge with that project is it's going to be about a $65 million construction project. So we're working with Caltrans to look at some phasing and our other partners down that area to try to pull that together and see if we can get those ramps done a little bit earlier. So that's a critical piece of infrastructure for us that we're looking at. We're also designing interchange expansion for Oak Valley Parkway I-10 overpass. So that ultimate need is to expand that bridge to a 6-lane divided bridge coming over to handle the traffic going that direction. From a public safety perspective, Fairway Canyon and Tournament Hills are only about half built out. So there's about another 2,000 homes that are entitled that are underway over in that section. In addition to that, we have the Olivewood residential project, which is another 900 homes, almost 1,000 homes. So, we're looking at another 3,000 homes that are coming to fruition over the next probably 5 years or so in that area. And so we've got plans for our West Side Fire Station. Those plans are now complete. We'll be going out to bid to construct that facility within the next 2 weeks. So we hope to be under construction either by the end of this calendar year or the January, February of 2021. We're keeping our fingers and our toes crossed so that those bid prices come in right where we need them to be. One of the components or one of the elements that our city council has talked about is wanting Beaumont to be as environmentally friendly as we possibly can. And so through our transit and through RCTC, we've actually secured grants over the last several years to do EV and CNG stations. So we actually just opened up or are opening up our first 3 EV charging stations actually right across from City Hall off of 6th Street. So we have our city parking lot that's over there. So there's 3 charging stations there. If you go look at the new In-N-Out, there's 21 EV charging stations in the parking lot around In-N-Out. It's amazing how many Teslas like to go to In-N-Out. I can't explain. There's something about Teslas and hamburgers, that go together. But they are all Tesla stations. So we've seen up to 8, 9 vehicles charging there while they're ordering food at a time. So it's been really kind of fun to watch that happen. So one of the other elements that we've talked about well as a quality of life is trying to take care of some of our local recreation and athletic needs. So we are launching some major initiatives to upgrade and expand our park systems. So our athletic complex up off of Beaumont Avenue and Cougar Way is scheduled for a facelift with regard to our athletic fields that are out there. We're also expanding the lighting systems that we need that will help us add capacity for other adult and other leagues that are needing to play. We have another park site which was being developed back in the severe drought of the, about last 5 years, 10 years ago. It was originally set up for as an athletic complex, multi-use for football and other kind of field sports. So we are programmed to start the design and construction of brand new ball fields out in that area to go ahead and ultimately realize what that park was supposed to be. For those of you familiar with it, it's currently a Frisbee disc golf course. So the Parks and Rec District is actually taken that disc golf infrastructure, and they're going to be doing their own facility up in Bogart Park. So we're clear now to go ahead and try to ultimately develop that field out there to help address our recreation needs. We are also looking to replace our city park. We have our city pool. We call it the plunge. We are working on a plan to actually replace that with a large interactive splash park. Council last night approved another $2 million allocation to look at some additional enhancements to Stewart Park itself to begin to develop that as really kind of a central park. So make it an event kind of centric facility. It's very walkable to downtown, a lot of the residents in downtown Beaumont. And so it's a great amenity that will help to launch our vision for downtown Beaumont. So we've got other kind of park improvements going throughout. Rangel Park, we just made some upgrades. We're looking at a small splash park there. Nicholas Park, another youth-oriented splash park in that area. So you'll begin to see some major park improvements that are happening at our community parks throughout our city. We just completed our first major road rehabilitation program. We spent about $3 million this year, including the rehabilitation and reconstruction for the majority of Beaumont Avenue. So come on up and drive up Beaumont Avenue and have a nice smooth ride. We took out some of the humps in there. So it's a lot more enjoyable place to travel now. We have another $5.1 million of road rehabilitation that we're doing this year. We'll be launching bids to start about $3.5 million of road improvements to be done before the end of this year, with another $1.6 million to do coming up this spring. So we're moving forward from that perspective as well. So most of downtown Beaumont Street system will be rehabbed within the next year. So the process will continue to move on. So that really kind of concludes everything we're doing. So we're taking a holistic look, taking care of the core infrastructure needs that we have, looking at sustainability, primarily with the ability to accommodate the utility load and need of our community, looking at recycled water and opportunities to create a sustainable supply that gets us through the worst times. And then, the other component is that we continue to see with our location and with the development activities going on throughout the community that we're seeing that sustained level of activities. So we're just happy to be here. We're happy to be part of this region, and we appreciate that all you guys are doing out there to help keep our communities moving and flowing. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Wow, our cities are just moving very rapidly. No wonder our housing market is just exploding. I think our inventory is so low now that if a house comes on the market today with all the good work that the city managers are doing in their cities, are having 10, 20 offers on them and being sold in a week. I just noticed also that our Vice President of Government Affairs have joined us, and we do have a few minutes. So I'm going to invite Gene up and to say a few words. Gene?
Thank you. And sorry I was a little late joining in this morning, but it's great to see you all. As always, we always enjoy the city managers tours, and we got that beard going on during the during the pandemic here. Everybody's on lockdown, and I'm willing to bet how many of you actually have pants on today. So anyway, never mind. Do want to thank you all for coming on this morning. It's great to see all the city managers and to hear all the wonderful things that are happening pretty much across our region. And we're experiencing it in Southwest County. And my hat's off particularly to you, the city managers, because if there's something I've learned over the last 6 months, city managers are really the lifeblood of the city. I mean, on the mayor, you do a good job, you make the policy decisions, but it's you folks that have been dealing daily with, do we open our doors? Do we close our doors? Are our restaurants open or are our restaurants closed? Are they open again? Are they closed again? You know, can we let people eat outside? You know, all the fun stuff that you've had to deal with on a daily basis, including you know, keeping staff safe, you know, allowing the workforce to work from home or wherever is you know, best designated for those particular folks. And as we've just heard, you know, you continue to process plans. I mean, you can't let everything come to a grinding halt. And so you've had to keep your cities going through this. And I know it's been extremely challenging some days. I talk to our city manager here in Murrieta, you know, 3-4 times a week. And it's just, you know, it's a juggling act for you all. And so again, we really appreciate you taking the time this morning to come share that time with us, because we know your time is at a premium and you've got a lot of stuff. So again, our hats off to you for the outstanding job that you do, not only all the time, but particularly the last 6 months. This has been a challenging time like none other we've seen, I think, pretty much in our lifetimes in terms of dealing with city situations where you're anticipating decreased revenue, and yet your costs are increasing and your businesses are crying out for assistance. So it's a tough job, and we can't thank you enough. So again, appreciate you all coming on this morning, enjoying all the updates. Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Up next, we're privileged to have 2 representatives from Perris that will be speaking with us. Michele Ogawa is from the Department of Economic Development and Housing, and will be sharing the time with Kenneth Phung, which is the planning manager. So whoever wants to start, it's up to you.
Hi, that would be me. Good morning, and thank you for having us. Our city manager, Richard Belmudez, was sorry he couldn't make it, but he sends his best. And he also sent economic development and planning for the update for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and so normally, of course, we would have nice, neat printed copies for you all. But instead this year we have the presentation, and then I'll drop the link to the materials in the comment section. In the chat, but I'm going to give a brief overview on the economic development side, and then I'm going to hand it off to Kenneth Phung, our planning manager, for a more detailed update on the development and the specific projects that are in the pipeline. So to start with, just a general overview of active commercial centers in the city, and we actually have gotten a little busier on the development side. During these times, we've gotten more calls from each of these developers actually, and other centers trying to come online. So on the development side, it's been pretty busy. All of these centers are throughout the city central, but also kind of scattered throughout the city. And they're all very active. We have a lot of tenant interest, a lot of active developers trying to get these through the process, and we're working alongside each of them. And then this is one of our highlighted projects. If you saw our presentation last year at this city manager breakfast, this was all mapped out and everything was a highlighted vacant pad. And so this year's, it happened very quickly. This project came together very quickly. It's right off the 215 and Nuevo Road exit. And so this year's update includes about half of it built out and occupied and operating in some way under the current circumstances. And then this is an overview of our active residential projects. We have over 9,000 new units in the pipeline at some point, whether they're approved, completed, in progress, under construction. So we have a lot of activity going on the development side for commercial and residential. And then we highlight, this is pulled directly from our marketing materials. So we highlight the different aspects of the live, work, and play in the city of Perris. So just some highlights from this. We have a quickly growing population here at 79,000 now, and it's at a high growth rate. And then we also have a high volume of daytime traffic with our high volume workforce and 22 schools, 3 school districts, 22 schools with staff, faculty, and students under normal circumstances traveling in and out of the city. And then on the work and play side, we have, again, a high volume workforce. We have a very developed industrial community here on the northern and southern ends of the city. And we have a lot of Fortune 50 companies that have a lot of space here in the city for their distribution centers. And then on the play side, we also are a center for anything from museums to the state recreation park at Lake Perris, skydive locally here, and we have a water park, paintball park. So we have a wide variety of recreational and leisurely activities for our residents to enjoy. And then every year there seems to be some kind of hot topic or theme. One year it was the cannabis licensing, one year it was homelessness that this group always enjoys hearing about. Of course, now this year I think the prominent theme is COVID and COVID response. And so I'm going to also go through some of the programs that we've implemented all since March and April when this thing hit and we all had to figure out how to function and how to continue to serve our residents in very restricted ways. So the city of Perris has been very proactive in continuing to provide services. Our counters are currently closed. They were partially closed, then they were open, and now they're currently entirely closed, but everybody's still available to work remotely. So our operations have been stable. And we're also available in office as needed by appointment. So we're operating relatively normal without the opportunity for walk-ins, but we're all still very available and accessible to our respective customers. And in addition to that, we've also implemented a number of programs since March, including a local business assistance program. This is funded directly out of our economic development budget and our general fund. And that is, it's very similar to the CARES Act funding that was made available by the Small Business Administration, but with some different, in our opinion, more relaxed guidelines to help our local businesses. So we created and implemented this program in hopes that we would have this focused effort for our local businesses on the business retention side to help them get through however long this lasts. And then on the housing side, we also created, implemented, and developed and are currently managing a number of rent and mortgage and utility assistance programs to, same as for the businesses, to try to keep our residents afloat and those who need it. And then we have a few other programs for senior meals. So for the high-risk population during the COVID times, where we do drive-through senior meals, delivery senior meals. We've enrolled directly with the state's Great Plates program, and we're active in that area as well to try to accommodate our high-risk population. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Kenneth Phung, our planning manager, to give you more detail on specific projects in progress.
Kenneth, you need to unmute.
Sorry about that. Let me just share my slide before I start my presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kenneth Phung, the planning manager with the City of Perris. Again, Michele and I don't necessarily have the credentials as the other city managers are on the panelists for today. So at the end of our presentation, you can really ask the other city managers about the city of Perris. They have all the knowledge that that we have. So joking aside, as I begin my presentation, I just want to highlight some of the things that are going on in Perris. As some of you know, Placenta Interchange has just started construction as of a couple weeks ago. So the Placenta Interchange is along the 215 freeways between Ramona Expressway and Nuevo Road. So with that interchange starting, and I think it's anticipated to open in 2 years in the summer of 2022, which will really help facilitate development in the middle area of the city. So with that said, I just wanted to share with you, as all the cities are impacted by COVID, we have to figure a way to work around or find ways to continue our operation. And so although our office is closed, we do appointments. They can come in by appointment. We do encourage people to do Zoom meetings. So we kind of figure a way to work around it. And our development services department and housing and economic development has really kind of adjusted to this new environment. And I think our development community has adjusted to it too. So although we have limited ability to bring people into the office, we're still working very efficiently with the circumstances we're in. So with that said, let me just give you, let me see how this slides. So just really quickly, with the current situation in the city, although we're impacted by the loss of the ability for shopping centers to open, the city has really, city of Perris in particular, has kind of a broad economy, which has really helped us weather this environment. So that has to deal primarily with the fact that interest rates are very low. And so housing has to continue to develop, and the fact that people are what they're doing right now is shopping online. So our industrial development community has really continued to move forward. So we're quite busy. So this is a map of the city of Perris. Just want to summarize what's going on. We have 8 active residential projects in the city, 1 in plan check. For industrial development, we have 4 active industrial projects under construction, 6 in plan check. And for commercial development, which is kind of slowed down a little bit, we have 2 active commercial projects and 1 in plan check. So that's the status of what's going on in the city, and I'll go into a little bit more detail here. So this is a map of the city of Perris. This kind of just highlights to you where the projects that are active. The red dots represent the residential project that's actively under construction, and then the blue dot represent the projects that are under plan check at the present. So it's kind of scattered throughout the city, mostly south of Ryder Street, and that's the reason for that is that most of the northern part of the city is in the March Air Force Base runway accident potential zone. So that's the reason why most of our development are along the southern end of the city and along the eastern end. So these projects represent about 638 homes that are actively under construction. About half of that has already been completed. We foresee the rest completing construction probably by the end of next year. It will be kind of absorbed. The projects kind of varies quite a bit in Perris. We are kind of very progressive in terms of our approach with home development. The city is really entertaining the idea of mixed-use projects, single-family homes, and even apartment projects. So I just want to highlight some of these projects for you. So this is a mixed-use project that's almost near completion in our downtown area, where the bottom floor is commercial and the top floor is residential. And then some other projects is that some of our tracts that were approved a while back during the recession, they're slowly coming back right now, and they're trying to build out these residential subdivisions. So this is just kind of some of the highlights of those subdivisions. Other projects that are kind of active is what we call a planned development overlay, or they're kind of cluster homes. So this is the concept. They're small lots. This is the trend that's happening as housing prices in Riverside County, and particularly in Perris, has increased. So we're trying to provide homes that meets the younger generation, people who don't necessarily want larger lots. They're more concerned about having amenities. So we're providing opportunities for those type of developments to reach that newer, younger market for homeowners. Our biggest development is in the southern area of town, which is what we call the Green Valley Specific Plan. I highlight 2 tracts, which encompasses about 300 homes. That's kind of going to wrap up by the end of this year. They actually have like 6 new tracts that are under entitlement process with the city, and that will encompass about 1,200 homes. That includes apartments, the kind of planned development overlay with small lots concept. So we're currently working with them to get it approved, and hopefully we'll get it approved before the end of this year and have hopefully 1,200 homes available for construction in the next 5 to 10 years to be absorbed for new homeowners. The next project I have is, this is a apartment project that have been approved for plan check. So it's a multiple family development that's next to our commercial development center. Currently right now, they're just trying to obtain financing. They're trying to figure out if the market makes sense at this point, but people are just kind of waiting. It's a waiting game right now, so to figure out if it's viable to move forward. But we believe that it will be a great project. I mean, there's a need for it. We know from market studies that there's a need for apartment projects. The question is ultimately, what is the price point for it to make it viable for them to proceed with the development? Next is our industrial projects. So again, the red dot represents the projects that are under construction. The blue dot represents the projects that are currently in plan check. Just for some history, the last 10 years, we probably built out about 20 million square feet of industrial. We have a lot of projects in the pipeline. You can kind of see in this exhibit, you can see most of the industrial development is in the northern area of town, and that's primarily because we're next to the March Air Force Base. So you can't really develop anything else but industrial, and that's the reason why it's occurring up there, and we kind of zoned the land for that purpose. So the project under construction currently is about 2.3 million square feet. There consists of different types of projects. One is 2 buildings, 1 million square feet and 62,000 square feet. The million square feet, we're really getting interest from a lot of, well, not necessarily getting interest, but we are getting Fortune 500 company. This 1 million square foot building will be by Amazon. They've already closed the deal and they're slowly operating at this point. So we're generating a lot of Fortune 500 company in the city of Perris. The second project that's on my list that's finishing construction is also a project close by to the other project. This is by the 215 freeway. And this will also be occupied by Amazon. They're, as you know, everybody's shopping online nowadays, and with the transition from people shopping online, all these industrial development are really wanting to develop, and they're occupying buildings in Moreno Valley and the city of Perris and other jurisdictions nearby. This is just some highlights. Some of the projects we have in Perris. This is a smaller project, 170,000. And back 10 years ago, 170,000 is considered large. 170,000 nowadays is considered relatively small for the city of Perris. But as you can see, this architecture, we've been really kind of pushing architectural design. So we want to improve the quality of the environment for people in Perris who want to move here, and if they have to deal with industrial project, might as well be aesthetically pleasing project. This is another project, 250,000 square feet. And this is their list in the pipeline that are currently in the plan check. It's about 4.2 million square feet in the pipeline that will likely start construction next year sometime. So of these projects, we're bringing in an operator called known as Canyon Steel. Hopefully they'll start construction early next year, but they really bring a lot of good jobs to residents. So if you know anything about the steel industry, they're union laborers. These people probably make more than a lot of engineers. Just the trade industry, it will generate a lot of good jobs for those who want to live in Perris and be close to their jobs. Other projects in the pipeline is this 144,000 square feet. We don't necessarily know who will occupy this building. Another is 426,000 square feet. Next one is a 2.3 million square feet industrial project consisting of 3 buildings. This project will be occupied by Home Depot. This is next to a rail site. So it would kind of take off a lot of the traffic from our roadway system and put them on rail. So this is a nice benefit to the city. And this is, I think, like will be an e-commerce, so they generate a decent amount of income for the city of Perris. So this is really a highlight project for the city. Other operations are a textile operation, 187,000 square feet. And a project we recently approved and is currently a plan check is, this is a Duke project. We call it the Raiders project. It's 1.2 million square feet. So this is next to the Wayfair site, which is across the street. As you know, most of you know Wayfair. They're a furniture company you can buy online. So Duke, they have a lot of connection, industrial development. So we're hoping that they'll bring another e-commerce to the city of Perris. And with that said, I want to just move to our commercial projects. As you all know, commercial has kind of taken a little dip with the COVID situation, but we still have projects in process. So as Michele mentioned, the two major commercial projects are the Perris de Plaza that she mentioned along the Wellwood Road and the 215 freeway. And then another one to the middle of the city off of Highway 74. So those two projects encompass about 208,000 that's currently under construction. I just highlight the architecture. So this one is currently under construction. The second one is the Perris de Plaza that Michele just mentioned. It's 173,000 square feet. They're wrapping up halfway through the process. And then we have one commercial project in plan check, which is we call the March Plaza, which is along Perris Boulevard and the northern city limits adjacent to Moreno Valley. So as I conclude my presentation, just my 2 cents on what's going on with the trends in Perris. I think housing development will continue to develop, particularly with the government's intervention with just interest rates. The interest rate is super low right now. And so they're keeping with those who are out of jobs or those who have jobs. I think with low interest rate, it will really continue to spur residential development in the city of Perris and other jurisdictions. The second trend we see in Perris is we will continue to see a lot of industrial development. Right now, we see the trend of people shopping online. I know that in my own family, we probably do 90% of our shopping online, even groceries. So with those trends, I think we'll continue to see that trend happening. And those cities that have industrial land development will continue to see big box warehouses that will come and accommodate people's needs. And so with that said, I will answer any question at the conclusion of this presentation.
Thank you, Michele and Kenneth. That was terrific. Our cities are just growing like crazy. Okay, next on the list, we have our city manager from San Jacinto, Rob Johnson. If you haven't met Rob or had a chance to talk with him, you can see him on Facebook Live every Monday and Thursday. So tune in on Facebook Live. So Mr. Johnson, if you're ready and queued up, you have
Absolutely. Thanks for the plug, Walter. Thanks for letting us come and talk about San Jacinto and all the great things that we have going on. It's a pleasure to be with my colleagues and to hear the great things they're doing in their cities, especially when we're talking about 5 million square feet of industrial in Moreno Valley, or that 170,000 square foot project is small for Perris. We'll take a percentage of either one of those as we move forward and continue to create our community. So here we go. All right, it's gonna be a little awkward because I'm looking up a little bit, but I'm gonna try to keep you all awake as we go through talking about the greatest city in the valley, the city of San Jacinto. We are focused on quality of life, and I'm Rob Johnson. I am proud and thankful to be city manager here since February of 2017, and we're rolling into a lot of opportunities, and these are our usual suspects, as we call them. This is your city council for San Jacinto. We have Mayor Andrew Kutyak. His term expires this year. If you haven't known by now, he's running for assembly. Crystal Reese, who's the current mayor pro tem, her term also expires this year, and she's rerunning as an incumbent. Alonzo Ledesma is a council member whose term expires on the 2022, as well as Mr. Joel Lopez. His term expires November of 2022, and Russ Utz, who's a council member, and his term expires on November 3rd of 2020, and he is back in the race again. Here's our management and development team. A big shout out to Tom Prill. It's his 50th birthday today, and no, he's not at work, but I just thought I'd mention that. So myself and Tom is our Deputy City Manager of Administrative Services and handles San Jacinto Power. Travis Randall is our Community Development Director, so planning, building, code. Tara Magner, who most of you hopefully will know by now, Economic Development Specialist, Special Projects Administrator, and Cynthia Espinoza, who is our Assistant to the City Manager, handling all of our social media platforms, Ignite San Jacinto, and Community Outreach, which you'll hear about in just a little bit here. Our current city profile, we're the 132-year-old startup city, so a lot of the things that are happening in other cities or built in other cities aren't here yet. Our population is now 51,028. We actually are the 5th fastest growing city in Riverside County based on population percentage. Yes, we have to qualify it, but we're still the 5th fastest. It's down from 3rd last year. However, we are 26 square miles, roughly 19 built out. Our median age is 31.4. That's down from 31.6 last year. Our average household income is up. And yes, I did just find this on the internet yesterday from point2homes.com. So you can check me on that. Fact check. 63,868. That's average household, not median income. Our median home prices, thanks to all the work that SRCAR is doing and the benevolence of Mr. Gene Wunderlich, we were up 11% year over year, and our median home price is $336,348. That was for June to June. Our new residential permits, we've done 113 this year alone. We've done 938 since 2017. We have roughly 1 million square feet of new retail in entitlement or under application. A staggering $589 million of retail sales leakage to surrounding cities. So you're all welcome, because our people shop in your cities and we are trying to stop that. Our budget for this year, our estimated revenue 19.3 versus a $21.1 million expenditure. Yes, we are expenditure over revenue. Our city has been that way for the past decade. As public safety continues to increase, we're roughly 65% of our total expenses go to public safety. That leaves roughly 35% of our budget, if you do the math, right? 65 and 35, I think that equals 100%, is relegated or available to the rest of the city for services and programs. We do have the 7th lowest staff to population ratio in the entire county at 1.11 per 1,000 population. So we have 58 staff for 51,000 people. We have been focusing obviously on quality of life, on increasing our sales tax base, and we have done a pretty phenomenal job of that. Outside of the 215 and the 15 and the 10 and the 60, where you're all shooting fish in a barrel, we're out here in the cul-de-sac under the beautiful San Jacinto Mountains. Aldi Grocery, Pacific Dental, Saboba Casino is obviously our main economic driver. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we lost one of our new and upcoming restaurant and breweries. Mason Jar Restaurant and Brewery closed, most likely will not reopen. Kickback Grill, Fatty Boys Tacos, Wiener Schnitzel. I'd like you to know that we have the #1 Tasty Freeze and the #3 Wiener Schnitzel in the entire state of California based on sales. So there you go. Top Grill, we have Sonic, 7-Eleven, Soapy Joe's under construction. We have Dollar Tree under construction. We have Rancho Estadio Plaza, which is a gas convenience retail food under construction, and AutoZone is currently under construction. Some financial institutions moved into town. That's a good sign for us. So Bank of Hemet built a new bank and moved over, and because they vacated a certain spot, Altura Credit Union just opened. So we're really thankful and happy to have them part of San Jacinto. Applications in the development process, we have Liseño Village, which is approved. Gas convenience, food, retail, about 31,000 square feet on Main and Ramona Expressway. We have the KPC development, which is approved on the other corner. That's a hotel, restaurant, retail, gas convenience, and assisted living. We just had a submittal for Duncan 31. It will be on State Street in the McDonald's Shopping Center, State and Ramona Boulevard. Pretty excited about that. I can't hear the applause, but I'm hopefully that you're all applauding all of these things. Tommy's Car Wash and a pad. Somebody in our city hall just shouted, so appreciate that. Thanks, Steph. San Jacinto Avenue, south of O'Reilly's, has submitted. Class A leasing, which is scheduled for the Planning Commission in September, is a state classroom manufacturing plant. Super excited. They're bringing 60,000 square foot plant on 14 acres, an estimated $10 million payroll, between 150 and 225 jobs. A great shot in the arm for us, for manufacturing, for jobs, just for San Jacinto in general, for our community. We're just super excited about that. Walmart on San Jacinto, on the Commonwealth side, just submitted to add a fueling station. So they're going to expand. Fantastic. 7-Eleven Car Wash on State and Ramona has also submitted. And if you haven't noticed, yes, we are in the gas convenience drive-through car wash phase. Once that our market area is flooded with that, we then get to move on to the next stage, which is typically sit-down restaurants, although COVID has kind of changed that a little bit. Usually office comes after that, and of course COVID has changed that too, since we're all working from home. But we will see our market flooded, and you'll see the landscape change in San Jacinto if you haven't seen that already. The city has invested $5.7 million in the last year. We've paved 26 road sections or 12 lane miles for $1.8 million. San Jacinto Power saved residents and businesses $1.6 million over the cost of what it was for Edison. We did purchase our street lights through WRCOG. That was a $1.8 million investment. We have rebuilt 4 well sites to the tune of roughly $500,000. But private investment in San Jacinto, 2018-19 and to date in 2020, has dropped $117 million in our beautiful little city. That is not including the Demler Egg Ranch, who will soon, it's off Warren, soon demo 930,000 square feet of old buildings and build 527,000 square feet of new poultry houses to the tune of about $18 million. So we are alive and well and moving forward. This is just gives you a kind of an example of what we see with our community development department and overview. You can see the 219 totals there. Obviously, phone calls are right on track. We're going to obviously be over that in phone calls because our counter visits are pretty non-existent. We do just like everybody else. We do meet with people that call. We do set appointments. We are still available. Our team is at City Hall. We do come to work every single day. Our total customer contacts, which I thought was uniquely, is ahead of where we were in 2019. So that bodes well for us and for development. On our building and safety division, you can see the totals of 18, 19, and 20, particularly in the private investment side. But you can also see where the permits are issued: 938, 60, 637. So we're on track. We're on track to take that to the next level. We have 6 active builders in town. We have Signature Homes, D.R. Horton, William Lyon, KB Home, Lennar, Richmond American, and the additional green areas are tentative tracks. If this looks to you like an old map, it really is, because we need to update. We're actually going pretty fast out here for us. I know that some of the other cities are doing a lot of residential building, but for us, in the last since 2017, we built 938 homes. We don't count a permit until there's at least 1 inspection done, and we know that's going to move forward. But if you look at the last 4 years versus the previous 6, we've already, I think that's double. 466 times 2 is a number. It's roughly 938. But you can see where we're trending. We had 1,709 final lots when I came here in February of 2017. And I need to update that because 1709 minus 861 is 848, but it needs to be minus 938. So that number is less than 848 that we have remaining. Our great partners here, KB Home, has been building in the Cove since back in 2009. They've continued to be a great partner with us and move forward. Signature Homes is building Luz del Sol, and they just started on Camellia Way. Lennar came in and built Artera. Horton is going nuts out here. So they've bought 3 broken tracks. They finished Palmilla, which is in the middle there. They're finishing Palisades. They just built Pheasant Run, and they're going to start scraping on that. That's Maine and Dogwood and Camino de los Baños. So you should be seeing that. And of course, Richmond American there out at Potter's Ranch. Let's talk a little bit about quality of life and where we were headed pre-COVID and where we hope to go post-COVID. So we did acquire the Vosburg facility and the associated land. We were assessing that for a civic center, retail, event space, pedestrian, art, walkable plaza, parking, and street improvements needed. And of course, COVID hit. That had to take a little bit of a back seat. We were looking to create a true civic center and entryway to Main Street. We are pursuing conceptual designs for the Virginia Lee, which is another city-owned building on Main Street, just east of Jordan, east of Sheriff, between Sheriff and Jordan, as a mixed-use site, either vertical or horizontal, side by side. It's roughly close to an acre. We are doing, we have a couple good layouts. We're going to do street conceptual designs, and then we'll be showcasing that to some development. We did some improved landscaping and identifying lighting options for Main Street. Merifit, which is the vegan protein snack king, that's what we call him, Ely Russis, has purchased Candy Corner on the southwest corner of Main Street and Sheriff, and he is bringing the vegan protein snacks that you would find in many other vegan and juice bars to San Jacinto. And so we're looking forward to his project and his redesign of that corner, and talking to him about some other spots that we have in Main Street where he could bring some other things. We do have a meat market takeout with an office over under tenant improvement submittal for 143 Main Street. So we are starting to see Main Street come back with some viable businesses. To combat COVID and to help our small businesses in town, we have created Restore. We like to call Res to Restore, get it, RES to RE, Restore, okay. Business out, these things don't translate when there's no crowd giving me some feedback as to whether I'm nuts or not, and I am nuts. But so the Restore Business Outreach Program is to restore economic status to revive the economy. And we know that small business is the lifeblood of San Jacinto. We can't afford to lose any businesses or hashtag any more businesses. We need to provide assistance and subsidy and programs. We need to continue to use our incentives to attract. We need to have the financial capability to do that. We also need to rebuild Main Street, which is another one of our council priorities. So you're going to start seeing Restore out there quite a bit. Inquire with us, talk to Tara Magner. She's creating the program, and we will be using CARES Act funding to restore. Something we're really excited about, quality of life, is Ignite San Jacinto. Cynthia Espinoza, Assistant to City Manager, is working to create our community outreach programs. And we looked at some other communities, and I'll give a shout out to Perris for the Be Well Perris, San Diego, the Be Well San Diego. These are great programs, and we want to bring that same thing to the city of San Jacinto. So we want to be healthy, be well, be San Jacinto. And so what is Ignite San Jacinto? It groups all community outreach into with different focuses into community outreach programs. So in the Be Healthy, Be Well, we have our Healthy Cities component. We did a HEAL resolution. We're doing virtual tutorials, community gardens, walking clubs, a school district partnership, looking at insurance coverage. On the Be Well side, obviously we want to have mental health awareness, social awareness, encourage wellness in the workforce. And then the Be San Jacinto side, we're looking at the built environment, the homeless outreach, the grants, the marketing of our parks and trails, which our San Jacinto Trails Master Plan won 2, not 1, but 2 awards, a regional award from APA, a state award from APA, and most recently an award from another group in San Diego, which escapes me right now. That's horrible. Landscape architects, there you go. Marketing of our parks and trails, farmers markets, marketing our city to be more mobile, and lessening our footprint, all with essential community partnerships, health fairs, resource connections, and education-based programming. We did launch virtually That was our first virtual tutorial, was on July 1st. We had starting a veggie garden. We had some handouts. We have a video on our website, which is phenomenal. We did a second Hill resolution highlight. That's coming soon. We did launch the website, so you can go to sanjacintoca.gov and you can find Ignite Community Outreach and find all this great information. We are seeking community partnerships. We did do a HEAL resolution, designates us as a HEAL city. It sets a commitment to move forward with healthy initiatives. It also opens up grant opportunities for us. So community partners, they look different for everyone, but we want to be creative and innovative, want to be educational, have resources. We want to support our outreach goals with those affected by homelessness, services for housing outreach, in-reach events. We want to address health concerns, prevention, increasing accessibility by bringing healthcare options. And we want to improve the mobility of our residents. Some of the folks that we're talking to engage in this with us is SoCal Gas, the Mount San Jacinto Education Foundation, and Connect IE. We have some current projects here in our built environment. We have a Prop 68 application for Sully Park for a multi-purpose field, a conversion of an unused pool to a splash pad, rehab of the restrooms, landscaping, and the addition of a fitness circuit trail. Rancho Park is a dual application, and we're looking at the National Fitness Campaign. There's a video on the next slide, but it wouldn't run, so I had to cut that out. I know you're sad about that, but you can probably go to our website and find that. For family and youth, we're looking at developing community gardens. We're seeking locations, programming, supplies, sponsorship inquiries. We do need 501c3s to work with us. Being healthy at home, we're creating a food incentive program with the farmers market to buy veggies and fresh fruits. We're looking at bicycle giveaway, healthy recipe video series, and creating a network of family support for walking clubs and safe community network. And the larger community impacts, of course, the important of Measure B and Ignite San Jacinto programming are our homeless outreach efforts, either through CityNet or SWAG, roughly $10,000 a month, unaffordable at present. But what current outreach looks like for homelessness is we have our code enforcement, our POP team, and we're partnering with the chambers to create a business strike force. Something we're really proud and excited about, and thanks, Walter, for giving that tip, is COVID has allowed us to communicate with the community in general a little bit differently. We want to make sure that folks see us connecting with them so that they can connect to City Hall. And for all intents and purposes, we're all people, right? We're all real people doing real things, trying to get along, and we all want to make sure that we humanize every aspect of what we do and make a real good relational connection with our community. So we decided to go weekly. We call it San Jacinto Live on Facebook. We do that Mondays at 1 o'clock, and we typically have the mayor with us, myself, and some of our management teams talking about all the things that we can provide information to the community on. I also started a weekly 3 Things Thursday at 3 o'clock. That's just me, I don't know, talking about 3 things Thursday at 3 o'clock that affect San Jacinto residents. So we also do monthly thematic campaigns throughout our entire social media platform. So just to give you an idea of the interactions that we've had, we've done 27 San Jacinto Lives. Total interactions, 259,544. So you can track all these things through your Facebook page. We've done 3 Things Thursday, about 14,809 interactions. So I got to catch up with the other group. But our social media platform goals are obviously to connect the community to City Hall, provide a positive messaging to the community, show that staff are real people and we're dedicated to the development of San Jacinto. And obviously we want to have a little fun, but we also want to provide some factual information. On the factual information side, we need to hashtag influence perception, because there's a perception out there in the community and the surrounding areas that San Jacinto is not open for business, that there's nothing to do here, that we don't have some of the things that everyone else has. So perception becomes reality over time, right? But information can change that perception and it can create a new reality, or what is the actual reality. Wallet Hub we found to be a very great partner for us. It has an education component that ranks cities across America and California in a number of platforms using data and metrics to support its findings. San Jacinto ranked as one of the best small cities to live in America. We placed 12th out of 17 Riverside County cities out of only 1,268 cities ranked in the entire US. That's pretty cool. Another pretty cool one is that we ranked as one of the best places to raise a family in California. We ranked 174th out of 254 cities that were, only 254 cities were ranked in California. There's 482 cities total in California. San Jacinto has one of the best community colleges in the US. Mount SJC placed 135th out of 710. There are 1,462 total in the US, and we ranked 4th out of 8 in Riverside County. San Jacinto is ranked as one of the best small cities to start a business in the US. We ranked 764th out of only 1,267 in the US, and only 14 cities in Riverside County were ranked, and we came in 4th. These are amazing statistics. Talk about being able to influence people and change their perception of who we are. We also ranked one of the best places to retire. We ranked 21 out of 22 in Riverside County and 228 out of 257 in the entire US. San Jacinto also ranked one of the best places for jobs. And I know that everybody says, well, there aren't that many jobs there. That's the point. We ranked 23 out of 254 in California. So if you want to start a business and you want to have a job, you need to come to San Jacinto. Hopefully you're fired up like I am. However, now let's get real. We've got some financial issues to talk about. So 3 years of deficit budgets, expenditure over revenue in a row, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. We were able to close the gap on those except COVID, so last year. The increases in expenditures are mixed with lower revenues. We have uncovered a looming structural gap. There's no amount of expenditure cuts that'll make up for the lack of revenue, and it's truly a revenue issue, not an expenditure issue. You can go to sanjacintoca.gov, you can check out Measure V, you can look at our 10-year financial model. So we actually paid somebody to do a financial professional study. And we also did a community surveys issue. We have reduced our budget by approximately $6.8 million in the past 3 years without reducing public safety. But public safety now accounts for roughly 65% of the city's total expenditures. So here it comes. What's Measure V? Measure V is a 1 cent add-on to the sales tax measure. The current rate in San Jacinto is 7.75. Riverside County average is 8.75. The proposed rate would be 8.75 for San Jacinto. Sales tax obviously would go to the general fund, and that funding is police, fire, parks, public works, infrastructure, economic development, business community, general operations of the city. If it was enacted, if it was passed by voters, it would generate a minimum of $3.2 million annually. So what does that mean? For us to add an additional deputy, it's $392,000 per deputy, $392,000. Council just increased our deputies by twofold. Those will be coming on in September. That's another $600 and some odd thousand that we need to cut out of our budget, which we did. We also need a new fire engine. We need a new crew 24/7. That's roughly $640,000 ongoing of annual cost for just the fire emergency services. We have needs everywhere, right? We need to reduce 9/11 emergency response times. We need more deputies on patrol. We need a new fire engine. We need a new crew. We need programs for those affected by homelessness. We need small business assistance. We need new business development. We need road repairs. Just as an aside, if you look at the chart on the right-hand side, you'll see that population and or having your own police department, which are those asterisks, are not a determining factor as to needing a sales tax increase. So you can see the sales tax there by city, by population, by sales tax, and then you'll see San Jacinto ranks near the bottom of those areas. If you want more information on that, visit Measure V. As always, this is our continued relationship status in San Jacinto. We love ourselves so that we can love you. We believe in people, process, and product. We believe that healthy people create healthy places that creates a healthy city. Did I go fast enough, Walter?
Yes. Thanks, Rob. We have one last speaker, and that's from the city that we do have an SRCAR office location in, and that is Hemet. But before we get to Christopher, remember to, if you have any questions whatsoever, please put them in the Q&A. If they're not in the Q&A, they don't get asked, they don't get answered. So if you do have a question, I know all the city managers have done a terrific job, sorry. Have done a terrific job of answering most of our questions already. So I guess we will move forward. Christopher Lopez is the city manager of Hemet. So Chris, if you're ready, you have the floor.
Great, thank you, Walter. First off, I want to thank Walter. I want to thank Norm. I want to thank Sylvia and Jean for their leadership in bringing this all together. I mentioned it earlier, but it's been very seamless in getting everything together. So thank you very much for everything that you've done. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues, Rob, Mike, and then Michelle, as well as Todd and Ken as well. You all are doing outstanding work. So great to be surrounded by some great folks as well. I also want to acknowledge Michael Percival, one of our council members. I see him on the call. He is a realtor and involved with the group. We do have another individual on our planning commission, Tiffany Lieberton, who is also a realtor. I don't know if she's on this Zoom call, but I know that we've got two individuals that strongly advocate for some of the things that I'll get into, which is very important as well. And then finally, I want to thank or acknowledge Cindy Lemke. She is a realtor as well, and she does lead the Chamber of Commerce in our community. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that the realtor community is very strong in Hemet, and they're a big part in moving our community forward. So with that, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen. So let's see here. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
All right, good. So let me make sure that you've got it all zoomed out. So give me a second. Let's see. Okay, so I just wanted to start off by, a nice little image of the Western Science Center. This is one gem that we have in our community. Really incredible what we have in our community. And I'll get into some of the other components that make our community one of the best in the region, in my opinion. In the Western Science Center, the work that they do over there, the students, the museum in and of itself is just incredible, and I'm fascinated, just amazed at the work that goes on day in and day out at that location. So who are we as the city of Hemet? We've got a population of 85,334, 29,193 households, about 2.85 persons per household. We've got about 27.85 square miles in our community. Persons under 18 years, about 32.7%, and then persons 65 years of age and over, 21.9%. So historically and anecdotally, Hemet was thought of as this older community, but you can see that the demographics are clearly changing to a younger population in our community, which is really exciting to see because we have been able to develop a number of projects that really cater to those demographics in our community. Those stats were taken from the U.S. Census Bureau. So when we talk about the top employers in our community, Hemet Unified School District, Physicians for Healthy Hospitals, the County of Riverside, Gosh Ford, Toyota, Hyundai, and Inland Chevrolet, Manor Care Health Services, AMR, and then Micrometer, who is a unique business in our community that just celebrated a significant anniversary milestone last year. And we're very proud to have them in our community and for the work that they do around the world. In terms of the businesses that make up our community, there's a number of businesses here, and I'm a little biased, so I included some of my favorite places that I like to eat at, including Lemongrass, Banh Mi, really make some incredible food at those locations. Home Depot, Buffalo Wild Wings, In-N-Out just had an expansion at their location that they completed in the last year. The Gosh Auto Group, Target, the Habit Grill recently opened up earlier this year. Micrometer, as I mentioned, did celebrate an anniversary in the last a year. Banh Mi, Hemet Valley Medical Center, which is a huge pillar in our community, Diamond Valley Honda, Lemongrass, which I did mention, Tacos and Beer, really incredible new restaurant that just opened up. The last that I heard, they've actually seen higher sales during the COVID pandemic than when we didn't have COVID. So their food is incredible, and we're proud to have them here in our community. Best Western, Hobby Lobby, Al's Kubota Tractors, servicing and fulfilling all your tractor needs in the valley. Sprouts, Ramco, this group, Precision Molding Solutions, they have contracts with all sorts of companies around the world, Sony, Tesla, you name it, and they're probably doing work for them. The airline industry, I had some conversations with them about how we can improve their operations in terms of whether they're looking at growth, and really having some positive conversations with them related to how we can assist them. Lowe's, Sonic, the Western Science Center, which was featured on the front page of the slide, Petter Nissan, which is doing good work in our community again, and then Last Chance Performance Marine. This group recently came into the city to discuss expanding their operation, and based on the sales that they're seeing, based on the work that they do, a lot of people wouldn't expect a marine dealer to be located in the city of Hemet, but they service multiple states. So people will drive in their boats specifically to have it serviced by Last Chance Performance Marine. And they really embody a kind of a perspective that I think the city of Hemet embraces, which is customer service. And so they've attributed their success to their customer service mindset, and really keying in on acknowledging the fact that, you know, good customer service means that individuals will come in from Arizona, other locations, Nevada, to get their boat service. So they're a real key pillar in customer service, but they're also looking at expanding, which is great for our community as well. In terms of some of our commercial highlights, I wanted to take some of the more prominent developments in our community that you all should be seeing in the near term, and really highlight those, and happy to answer any questions about those as we move forward. So at the Stetson corner at Sanderson, the overview of this project is the construction of a 12-bay gas station with approximately 3,000 square feet. It includes a 7-Eleven store, approximately 2,800 square foot drive-through fast food restaurant, and a 43,000 square foot car wash with 20 self-serve vacuum stations. So the project is located at the southeast corner of Stetson and Sanderson Avenue. Just recently, the Planning Commission did hear about Raising Cane's and having that group come into our community. So this project includes the construction of a just under 2,800 square foot restaurant on a 32,000 square foot lot at the Crossroads Shopping Center. The restaurant will require demolition of the existing building that's there on site. The location is 3156 Florida Avenue. And as I think Todd mentioned earlier, in some of the other cities, people go nuts over Raising Cane. So I don't know if you've ever been to one, but typically you see lines that are just going for a long time because of the popularity of Raising Cane's and their food. In addition to that, we have an expansion of O'Reilly Auto Parts. The overview of that is the construction of a new 7,400 square foot store within Page Plaza. The project also includes an expansion of existing inline retail shops comprised of 2 tenant spaces totaling 10,000 square feet and 5,000 square feet for each unit. Now, I know we're nearing lunchtime, so I hope you all are hungry, because I'm going to be talking about some more food now. Rally's Hamburgers, the overview of that, construct and operate an approximately 1,000 square foot drive-through facility with no in-store dining area. The site is approximately 3/4 of an acre with 11 parking spaces, and the location of that is the northwest corner of Tanya Avenue and Stetson Avenue. I know that Rob mentioned that they have significant amounts of leakage. We're happy to welcome San Jacinto residents into our community and happy to provide these opportunities for everybody moving forward. So happy to see these growth opportunities in our community. In addition to that, we talked about some quality of life themes earlier today, and I wanted to highlight the fact that the historic Hemet Theater renovation is moving forward. The overview of that includes a major interior remodel, adding 88 restrooms and a front facade remodel and a new marquee. And so this is one of the key pillars in our community. Unfortunately, with COVID, a lot of the performances here are not occurring, but we're looking forward to when they can reopen and start entertaining the community again with their outstanding live performances in our community. In addition to what I've mentioned so far, we also have a Holiday Inn and Express that's gearing up and moving forward. The overview of that project includes the construction and operation of a 4-story, 80-unit hotel on approximately 1.6 acres. So again, we've got a few hotels in our community, and so this will add to the service options or the options that individuals have when they are visiting our community. So we're excited about seeing this group come in and establish in our community. This one is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, and we talked about it last year, and it was the S2A project. So the overview of this includes the construction and operation of a 210,000 square foot manufacturing facility for a Tesla-powered modular smart home factory. This project will include approximately 100 workers and will operate as a net zero facility and will be powered by electricity generated by solar panels, which are located on site. The homes will be delivered to their final destination with Tesla electric powered semi-trucks. It will have the capacity to construct approximately 1,000 residential units per year. The EIR is nearly complete, and we anticipate it going to the Planning Commission this fall. So this is one of the ones that we're most excited about. We've been updated by this group to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to ensure that this is a smooth process for them. And we're really excited for our Planning Commission to be reviewing this in the near term. Now I wanted to spend some attention on some of the residential highlights. As many of the other cities mentioned, they are seeing increases in some of the residential construction in their communities. We are seeing the same thing as well, and we're really excited to see some of this happening in our community. Citrus Point by D.R. Horton is one of the most recent projects. It is gearing up. The Planning Division approved the construction plans for a model home complex from D.R. Horton. The model complex homes are in conjunction with the approval of 80 single-family residential homes, which are located on the northeast corner of Lake Street and Florida Avenue. I know that neighboring communities are seeing D.R. Horton in their communities, and when we talk about upstanding and just transparent quality builders, D.R. Horton particularly comes to mind. They've been nothing but outstanding to work with. They've been very complimentary of our staff. And I know that my colleagues can certainly appreciate when you have developers that come in that are transparent, that aren't trying to hide anything or be, trying to be sneaky. And D.R. Horton has been just upstanding and outstanding in all of the discussions and meetings that we've had with them, and we're excited to move forward with them in the future. And I know that they're working on a number of other projects in our community as well. The Seasons at McSweeney Farms by Richmond American Homes. So on July 7, 2020, the Planning Commission approved site development review of the construction of 77 single-family homes. The project is located on the southwest corner of McSweeney Parkway and South Village Loop. The model home complex plan plan review is currently underway and will be considered by the community development director today. So that was a meeting that we have going on. It should be still going on as we speak right now. So hopefully that review and discussion went very well, and I'll have an update from our community development director later on this afternoon. Another project, the Latham. So on June 16, 2020, the Planning Commission approved a site development review for the design of a 3-story, 120-unit assisted living senior apartment facility on 3.3 acres, located on the southerly side of Latham Avenue, east of Lyon and west of Elk Street. So again, very happy to have these types of facilities in our community. These facilities are, we believe, the type of facilities that we want in terms of their look and not being a big drain or demand on services. So Core at Hideaway by Taylor Morrison and William Lyon Homes. This is one of our proud stories. This project is sold out. On March 6, 2018, the Planning Commission approved a site development review for the design and construction of 193 single-family residential lots. The 44.7 acre property is located on the north side of Fruitvale Avenue, west of State Street and east of Palm Avenue. Since then, the residential community of homes has been built by Taylor Morrison and William Lyon Homes. And as I mentioned, the development is sold out. We actually had a meeting with D.R. Horton last week, and they actually referenced this project that really was one of the key deciding factors on deciding that Hemet is where they needed to be. They tracked this development from the beginning to end and really commented on the success of this specific project and the demand in our specific community. And they felt that they could have some success in our community as a result of what specifically happened at this location. I mentioned that I just wanted to highlight some of the high-level projects. There are some other projects that we're proud of helping to shepherd through our process. And I'll go through those just so that everybody has an understanding of the additional projects that are coming through our community. Last Chance Performance Marine, as I mentioned, they are expanding. So when we have businesses that expand, that is a great story to tell for our community. This includes the construction and expansion of operations for boat sales and service and remodel of existing office to support sales. I was in a meeting with this group just a couple of months ago, met with them a few times, and they mentioned that they are unable to keep any boats on their lot. When we talk about the other opportunities that residents or just people have during these COVID times, people have looked at, RVs, camping, but also boating. And so they've stated that they just can't keep boats on their lot. So they're having people come in from all sorts of places to purchase these boats. And these aren't, rinky-dink aluminum boats. These are very expensive boats that are by no means, anything that's anybody would scoff at. So their sales are heading in the right direction. Kirby Partners includes the request for a 3-year extension of time for subdivision of 5.33 acres into 20 single-family residential lots with a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet. I know that this is a project that I had seen kind of develop over the last year or so. This project will occupy the former Marie Callender's that's located on Florida. The project includes facade improvements of an existing location. The new facade will have a Western style theme. And so we're really looking forward to this Western style food that will be provided here at this location. In addition to that, Hemet Industrial, located at the northwest corner of Airway Place in Wentworth. This includes a modification of a site plan, Rancho Diamante, west of Warren Road, east of the San Diego Aqueduct and south of the railroad tracks. This proposal includes subdividing 245 acres into 586 single-family residential lots with an average lot size of just over 6,400 square feet. One 19.7 acre commercial parcel, and then just under 65 acres of park and open space area. I should note that the attractions that we have, amenities, whether it's with trails, biking, off-roading, fishing at Diamond Valley Lake, kayaking at Diamond Valley Lake. We're really in a location where we have a lot of these amenities available to not only our residents, but neighboring residents as well. So we have a lot of individuals that come in to utilize that. So that open space, that park area is really critical, and we believe one of the amenities that we're able to capitalize on and offer to our residents as well as neighboring residents in our community. 501 East Florida, a preliminary review to remove existing kiosk and construct a new 2,300 square foot convenience store and renovate the site to accommodate new parking spaces in circulation. I wanted to spend some time talking about some of the investments that the City of Hemet is doing in its own infrastructure. So I talked a lot about these last year as upcoming projects, and I'm happy to state that these projects, a lot of the projects that we talked about last year were completed in that time. Obviously, when these come about, the council does have a role in approving these projects and providing direction on some of those other critical infrastructure needs that they've identified in our community. So in terms of the key projects, the Stetson Bridge was replaced and reconstructed in the last year. That was a $1.3 million project. We had a new traffic signal at Warren and Auto Mall, which is near some of the car dealerships that was on the books for a number of years. That construction and installation was just completed a few weeks ago, and that traffic signal is now operational. That was just over $300,000 for that project. Safety analysis report was conducted and completed at the cost of $105,000. Along Florida Avenue, I know that a lot of people have been pained by the median that was put in along Florida Avenue. We did purchase a number of preemption devices that will allow our public safety, primarily police and fire, to be able to traverse the intersections by having devices that when they're running lights and sirens, that causes the traffic signals to turn green for them. And so we just went out last, I believe it was Monday morning, to see those working and operational. And those have been installed, and they're just being fine-tuned now. But that really hits on one of the key goals for the City of Hemet, which is public safety. That was to the tune of $300,000. We did a number of Kirby Street improvements, including incorporating the area between Devonshire to Menlo, and that was an investment of $750,000. We recently completed the 2018-2019 slurry seal, so I apologize for the construction that's been going on in our community. It's because we've been investing in our community. And so we did various slurry seal improvements throughout the city streets to the tune of $1.2 million. We also did a number of missing sidewalk improvements throughout the community to the tune of just under $240,000. We did Whittier Avenue resurfacing to the tune of $76,000. And then we did a significant number of ADA ramps in our community, which included the ramps as well as some sidewalk improvements to be ADA compliant to the tune of $265,000. So just in the time in the last year from when I talked to you to where we are today, proud to highlight the investments in our infrastructure of over $4.5 million in our community. And we're hoping that this helps extend the longevity of some of our streets, but also deals with some of the longstanding issues that were on the books, but just didn't get addressed including the Stetson Avenue Bridge. So appreciate all of your patience if you live in our community and dealing with us tearing up the roads and doing the work, but we really see this as being vital to moving our community forward. In addition to what I just highlighted on the previous slide, we have a number of projects that are currently either in design, currently being constructed as we speak, or various other stages, which again highlight the critical need of improving the infrastructure in our community. And so we've got about $17.8 million in projects in those various stages, which again, we believe will help circulation in our community and really provide some longevity for the infrastructure in our community. One of the other key components, which is similar to building and investing in our community, includes building the foundation for success in our community. I'm sure many of you know that the City of Hemet has had a number of city managers. And so I'm building what I believe is the team for success, not only for this year, but for the future. And so we're building the systems. We had a number of systems that were stuck in the 80s. We're transitioning and utilizing technology to our advantage. So if you notice our agendas, whether it's Planning Commission, whether it's City Council, whether it's some of our other public committees and commissions, we've transitioned to an electronic management system. Electronic agenda management system has really provided a number of efficiencies, and we believe increase the effectiveness of what we do in providing transparency to the community. Many of you have had the chance to meet new members of the executive team. I had the opportunity to appoint a new police chief. Chief Eddie Poost is an incredible leader in the police department. He brings a far different approach to policing, far different approach to how we deal with public safety in our community. And he's really engaged with our groups in our community, our residents, our HOAs, and various community groups. And so he's done an incredible job in making some improvements in our community. I'll highlight one of those. The city recently moved forward on some automatic license plate readers, which trigger or go off only when they read a stolen license plate in the community. And so just in the couple of months that they've been operational, we've already exceeded the number of stolen vehicle recoveries in that time. And we're talking stolen vehicles that are being stolen out of neighboring communities. Just last week, I got a message from our police chief from a Temecula resident who had his items stolen, and he just, the individual that stole, it was a truck as well as a trailer that had a lot of off-road vehicles. We found it because it triggered our automatic license plate readers, and this resident was just astonished at the quickness of our response, the quickness of our ability to apprehend the suspect, but then also recover all of his stolen property. So our police department made a concerted effort to identify where this suspect lived, got the necessary items addressed to search the location, and was able to recover that. And we had a really nice message from the resident thanking our team. And that's really the embodiment of customer service that we try and carry in and day out. And under the leadership of Eddie, we've been able to do that in the police department. In addition to that, we were able to bring on board, promote one of our principal planners to the community development director role. And so he's really been in the middle of significant interest from the commercial and residential sectors in really expanding our community. So they've been doing incredible work with the COVID challenges that we have, but very appreciative of the work that they do day in and day out. We will be making an announcement about our new city clerk that was our deputy city clerk, and he's really been the driving force in modernizing our systems, not only on the agenda management side, but some of the other transparency side. So he's done an incredible job, and we're really proud to have that. But that's really what I mean about the foundation for the city. Just as you look at a city's infrastructure or a physical foundation of a building, everything is built upon that. So I really think that the investments that we're making in our leadership team right now will definitely pay off for the city of Hemet down the road. And then also to the perspective, that customer service minded perspective, really driving that home to our leadership team and really putting the management back in management. And so really allowing the leadership team to do the work that I know that they're capable of doing, and really elevating our team to provide the level of service that our community expects and what I know that we can provide to the city of Hemet. So in the time that I spoke to you last, we had a number of new businesses that opened up. These are just some of the businesses that opened up in the last year. Very proud to have these groups in our community. I won't take the time to read them all aloud, but I know that the Habit Burger and Grill has had sales that have just been incredible. Hemet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, our automotive dealerships are a pillar in our local economy, and they've been able to weather the COVID storm, and I'm hearing some good news come out of our dealers. Hemet 7 Days Market has had some good success. There's Vero's Ice Cream. Earlier this year, we started a kind of a tool in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce where we got businesses that had just opened up in the community, and we brought them into City Hall. This was prior to COVID. So we brought them into City Hall and we talked about what were the challenges that they had, what were the things that worked out well, how can we be of more assistance in the future, what are the things that they need from the city now. And we had a really good conversation about the types of things and the challenges that they had, which really revolved and focused in on individuals that maybe had a dream of opening up a new business, but they didn't know how to do it. And so we really had some good takeaways from that, had a good dialogue from them. And I make sure to provide anybody in the community, whether it's a resident, business owner, my cell phone number. And so I provided my cell phone number to those individuals. Luckily, they haven't had to reach out to me because we've been able to handle it at the staff level. But getting that input from our businesses, getting the input of how they were able to manage the process, we really think is important to figuring out how we can improve our systems here at the city of Hemet. Again, I'm not going to go through everything, but you can see that there are a number of new businesses that opened up in our community, and we're very proud to have them here and very proud to have new businesses continue to go through. The last point that I want to note is over the last, I'd say, month, we've had an incredible amount of interest on big commercial developments in our community. And so when we get these inquiries, whether it's through our city website, or whether it's through a phone call in the city manager's office, or whether it's individuals reaching out to our community development team, we make it a point to schedule meetings within 1 week of that inquiry coming in and sitting down with them and talking with them about what their vision is, and then also being transparent in providing a timeline for them depending on how close they are to moving forward on a project. So we sit down with them, we provide a timeline, an overview of what they can expect from us, the timelines that we need to have them adhere to in order to expedite their process, and we're really rolling out the red carpet for them. So that's really the approach that we've taken in the city of Hemet. I want to thank everybody that was on the Zoom call. I want to thank the leadership at SRCAR for putting this together. And again, this is one of the things that I really look forward in talking about, because I get this information from our city managers, but also it allows me an opportunity to provide an update to this group and let them know about the exciting things that are happening in our community. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions when that time is here. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I want to say thanks to Connie and Sylvia for a great job for putting this on. It's my privilege and an honor to do this with you, and it's great. I look forward to this every year. it shows that our cities around here are in good hands. Our presenters today were just outstanding. These cities are just going to go forward. The city managers and the leadership in these cities are just, like I said, we're just outstanding. So we, as realtors, we can have a little breath of relief, knowing that the cities are going to go forward. There's a lot of housing that's going to be built, so our realtors will have to sell these homes and sell the quality of life in each one of these cities. And I guess we will be moving into Q&A, but one thing I do want to mention before we get to Q&A, the cities are coming up for elections in November. Make sure you understand the measures. Make sure you understand the candidates who are running for these city councils to help these city managers in the leadership to keep these cities moving forward. So that's my plug. So now we'll move into Q&A. Sylvia, you're going to be doing the Q&A?
Walter, yes, I can go ahead and assist with that. All right, some of the questions have already been answered on the chat, but I might ask Rob to answer them again live just for the people that cannot see them on the Q&A. But I'm gonna start with the question from Cecilia. Recently, there were prisoners that were released to Hemet. Crime and education is a top concern with people not wanting to live in Hemet. Can you address some of these concerns? So this looks like it's addressed for the city of Hemet. So Christopher, would you like to answer that question?
Absolutely. So this was something that was really, we were surprised at this information. And I'll share this with the group here. Quite frankly, I was upset, as was my chief, that the county would provide this information without having any sort of dialogue with the city. And so we were really upset with that. The other thing that we were really upset about is none of the numbers had been filtered through or had actually been verified. And so we did our own verification with the county in determining those numbers. And it was not even the numbers, in our view, they did a disservice by providing that information out. So the reality of it is we have a number of individuals that are choosing to live with their families. So after they've been incarcerated, they go and they live with family members. So that's really what it's about. It's not that we've created any sort of housing for these individuals. And I understand that people make life choices and make life decisions. But from our side, we had our own private conversations with the county when they provided information that we felt was premature, as well as hadn't been vetted. So that's what our police chief tried to combat when we provided the factual information that we do have on the Hemet Police Department Facebook page. So that's where we were able to provide what we believe is the true and accurate information on that. But completely understand your concern.
Thank you, Christopher. And since I have you on here, we have a question from Sandy Hussein. In your presentation, you mentioned about the Kirby Partners subdivision. Can you mention one more time, where is it going to be located?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. So that is on the northwest corner of Kirby Street and Fruitvale Avenue.
Okay, Sandy, so that was your answer. Thank you so much. And then this is a question for all of the cities. This question came from our president, Terry Ryan. Have any of the cities revised their permit and approval process to try to efficiently expedite things for businesses, builders, and developers, or are you satisfied with the process that is in place? Rob, I'll have you start since you did give an answer on the Q&A, and then we'll go ahead and pass it on to the rest of the city managers and representatives.
Thanks, Sylvia. So I guess I have to remember what I said. Sorry about that. Usually we like to get rid of the question and then we kind of forget what the question was. But so San Jacinto is working on General Plan 2040 at present. It's our general plan update. It aims to make development more ministerial in nature and reduce the costs and time for the developer. Of course, we know that time equals cost. So we do have a new permitting program, Tyler program that we just purchased and council approved. So we're going through about a 6-month process to institute that. It'll allow expedited plan check, you know, allowing us to relay comments and get corrections and resubmittals instantly and over, you know, 24/7. Plus has the ability to schedule inspections more easily and get better feedback. But I think my last comment was we can always do better, and we're always looking for ways to be more efficient. So I guess the first answer is no, because we can be better, and this is what we're trying to do. So we're not satisfied, and we can be better.
Thank you, Rob. And is there anybody else from our panelists that would like to answer this question as well?
This is Kenneth, if I can speak. So what we're doing right now is we're transitioning, or we have transitioned to online permitting. So people can submit their plans to us electronically. They can download the plans, or they can mail in the plans to the city since we're not officially open. So we're accommodating everybody through that process. We're also currently working on virtual inspection. Just with COVID situation, not being able to be next to someone or having to maintain a distance of 6 feet, we're in the process of allowing virtual inspections for a lot of our building inspectors. In terms of trying to reach us, we've kind of created a group email. So if someone wanted to contact the planning department or building department, they can send just one email, and so all the staff members can respond quickly. So the goal is to have someone who have quick access to everyone, and because we're not here in the office all the time. We gave all our staff phones, we gave all our staffs laptops, so they can all work remotely. So that's how we've handled it, and we've gotten a lot of praise for it from the community. We got emails to our city manager's office saying, you know, we haven't really seen anything slow down through the process. So that's what the city Perris has done to accomplish during this unique time for our economy.
If I can add to Kenneth, so in line with the planning and permitting processes, we've also created a dedicated business liaison position in economic development to, on a case-by-case basis, assist developers and businesses through all of these processes internally. Our building and planning divisions are innately very business friendly, and the processes are streamlined automatically, but we also have that available as an added supplement to what they're doing.
Thank you, Michelle and Kenneth. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, very similar to Rob. This is Mike Lee of Moreno Valley. So I was very fortunate. The city council, the leadership, they really had the vision of wanting to invest in innovation, with starting with our mayor, Dr. Ixon Gutierrez. And we made that initial investment about $2 million about 3 years ago. And there's different modules we have implemented. So we have already implemented our online permitting, also online inspection, and actually developers or business owners at home, they can actually check their permit status at home. You know, it's 24/7 at any time that they could check what is the status of the permit. The last module that we were implementing was the online plan checking, and that was going to be implemented later on this year, but because of COVID, we actually accelerated that process. So we purchased a lot of Surface Pro, and so some of the plans are coming in electronically, and so our planning officials or inspectors are actually reviewing the plans on the Surface Pro, making comments on them, and sending it back to the consultants or the architects or the engineers. So that is actually implemented right now, and we're rolling that phase out. Also, you know, we have a full service economic development department. I used to be the economic development director. I still kind of serve in that capacity, as long as also being the city manager. And we really thrive on being very customer service oriented. You know, we have a dedicated business concierge who just deals with developers. And so they have questions or concerns, they could call her directly, and we'll troubleshoot any problems that we have. We're not perfect, but we want to be perfect. So we're always trying to improve our system. And also we have a dedicated business ombudsman to help our existing businesses, because we want to help them expand. Also, especially right now with what's happening with a lot of the small businesses, That person has been really, really vital to providing all the information that our businesses need. We have all our businesses on an email server, so we are distributing emails almost every other day to our 4,500 businesses to keep them apprised of what is happening and all the quick changes that is coming from Sacramento or things that are happening. So, and we're also running different programs to help our small businesses make sure that they survive. We have grant programs that are out there. We partner up with also other organizations to help our small business make sure that they do survive.
Thank you, Mike. And it looks like we have the City of Beaumont and City of Hemet to address this question. Todd, would you like to go first?
You bet. So we've actually already initiated online submission, digital submission of plans. So there's online plan review. We've also outfitted or are in the process of outfitting our inspection vehicles with all the tech that they need to be able to work completely remotely. We had implemented also a virtual inspection program once COVID kicked in full bore. So we'll probably continue that to some extent as well. So there needs to be a combination of on-site inspection as well as some opportunities for virtual inspection. So what we found with virtual inspections is we're actually able to cut the time of inspection down to probably about 75% of the normal kind of drive up and inspection. So there was some increased efficiencies there. In terms of facilitating some of our major economic development initiatives, such as opening of Amazon, we work with those prospects to do specialized inspection programs. So if there's overtime, for example, Amazon is on a short time to try to get their facility open. So we've actually assigned one of our inspectors there to work with them and to kind of be a lead for all things inspections to help streamline that process and get them through and get their doors open in an expeditious process. So there's some kind of neat technologies that COVID really kind of helped us stimulate in terms of bringing online. And those are going to be nice to carry through. And we're getting positive responses back from particularly our residential home builders that this process is much preferred. We also have found that there's a lot more desire to continue with Zoom meetings and virtual meetings. So as they're calling in, they're wanting to sit down and go through a development review, comments, and some other meeting processes. Zoom meetings will also be continued, and those are increasing efficiency as well. So that's where we are and some of the elements that will continue to extend past this current period.
Thank you, Todd. And last but not least, Christopher.
Sure, thank you. So our engineering department had gone to digital submission probably a year ago. And so now we're rolling that out for community development. We found that a lot of our applicants prefer to do the digital electronics submittal for their plans, which is working out well. We did also set up virtual inspections. So we did FaceTime that we rolled out for the applicants that needed inspections, but we were being very mindful of COVID. So we did roll out virtual inspections for our team. We also rolled out a number of platforms and mechanisms that allow applicants to check the status of their applications online so they don't have to call City Hall or physically visit. They can go online to our website and check the status of their application without talking to anybody. And then we're looking at continuing to update other communication methods, tactics, whether they be online with various chat functions and talking to an individual or chatting with an individual online. So those are a number of things that we've implemented. We're also still looking at additional ways to make the process a lot easier. We have had some feedback from our applicants that they're appreciative of being able to do things electronically in 2020, but we also have had some individuals that state that they still prefer doing things the old school way, physically meeting with people. And so in those instances, we've accommodated those folks, obviously being mindful of all the restrictions that are in place. And so we've been able to accommodate both sides of it, I think pretty successfully, and we'll continue to look forward to how we can make things better in the future.
Thank you everyone for answering that question. And secondly, we have, I'll ask this question as a general question for all cities. How is your city addressing the homeless population? Who would like to go first?
So I'll start. This is Chris in the city of Hemet. About 6 months ago, before the pandemic hit, the neighboring city of Riverside had actually began to have conversations about addressing the homelessness issue on a regional perspective. I think that's really a key part of what we're dealing with. I think this question also came up last year. The city of Hemet is one of the few cities in the area that has its own homeless facility and homeless shelter. And so we're really proud of the work that goes on at Valley Restart and the resources that are provided. In addition to that, we have a number of other partners in our community that do provide resources to individuals that are experiencing homelessness. I believe that there needs to be a regional solution to this and collectively work together for that. In addition to that, one of the things that we've noticed during COVID is the number of individuals that have experienced unemployment throughout the region. And so we know that that potentially has the impact of increasing the homelessness in the areas. And so prior to COVID hitting, I had partnered up with Riverside County to talk about what those opportunities were to have our folks that could be potentially on the verge of experiencing homelessness, that were only being laid off from experiencing homelessness. And we're developing a partnership, or we have developed a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce in our area. And we've identified the businesses in our area. We had them to answer a short survey. And our goal is to team up individuals that are in our community that maybe don't have the education that would necessarily get them into a job that's well paying, but really get them into a job that's that they can receive, whether it's technical training in a short amount of time, or that they can be in a pipeline with our businesses and get that job. We really see that as a preventative measure to not increasing the current status of homelessness in our community. But again, it's a very comprehensive approach in dealing with this, not only in dealing with the immediate view of homelessness that a lot of us are accustomed to, but also doing the tools and instituting the right mechanisms to ensure that we don't add to that moving forward. So that's what we're doing here in the city of Hemet.
Thank you, Christopher. And for our audience, Rob did write out a really nice summary of what the city of San Jacinto is doing, but I'm just going to have him do a quick summary, but I do encourage you to go in and read that response. You can click on the Q&A and then just click on answer, and you can read that beautifully written response.
So thank you, Sylvia. First of all, we don't, in San Jacinto, we don't claim to have all the answers. This is an issue that has been exacerbated over time. It's a struggle for those that have been formerly incarcerated that are back on the streets now due to several different AB and SB numbers that we all know about. There's mental health issues, there's medical issues, there's addiction issues, there's homelessness, lack of having a place for a shelter issue, lack of housing. We attempt to be as humanly kind as possible. We have a public-oriented policing team. We have our code enforcement officers. They virtually know the folks that we continually to see on the streets by name, continually offer assistance. Most of the time that assistance is denied. We tend to move them along to another location where we will see them either the next day or the following afternoon inside the city limits somewhere. There are a number of great programs that are out there. SWAG and CityNet are two phenomenal groups. Unfortunately for the city, we don't have the finances and the wherewithal of the $10,000 a month that those case management groups cost, but that's really in our opinion and where we're trying to head is what's desperately needed here is a case management program to where we can meet the needs effectively of those that are on the street, get them the care that they desire if they actually, and this is sad, but if they actually want it. And there's a whole thought process behind if they actually want it or not, because are they capable of telling you that they don't want the services that you're providing? So there's a struggle there. There's a lot of relationship building that has to happen. I did provide a written commentary. I don't know if this helped or hurt that, or if I just disputed everything that I wrote. But we are trying to be as compassionate as we possibly can and assist those that want assistance. But it's a struggle. It's a definite struggle.
It was in line with what you wrote, and being part of the community, the Valley here in Hemet, I can, vouch that there are a lot of nonprofits and also government agencies and organizations working together to try and address this problem collectively, because it is something that affects this valley and surrounding cities. And so there's definitely, I want to say, like a movement with addressing the issue with the homeless, because it is multi-layered. It involves mental health, it involves addiction, it involves homelessness. And so it is in line with where your answer is, Rob. So thank you. And I do see the hand raised from City Manager Todd Parton. So I will go ahead and give you the floor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'll be very brief. I know we're running out of time, but we have a community-oriented policing philosophy as well. We have a MET team, a special policing team that engaged in business liaison activities. We also have an officer who's assigned to liaison with homeless. So there's a proactive outreach. We also, though, understand there's a negative component to it that has to be addressed. So our code enforcement team also proactively looks for areas, finds areas, and we go through a process to, sometimes it may not be voluntary, but to collect things and remove rubbish and collections of things. So we also try to encourage the business community to reach out to the police department if there are issues or concerns or safety issues that are out there, and we proactively address those. So we also keep a proactive link to our county homeless resources, and we do try to provide some link to those that we touch base with to let them know that they have resources available to them. So that's the way we approach it.
Go ahead, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think just echoing all the other city managers, it's really a regional issue, but Moreno Valley, we have taken more of a holistic approach. Several years ago, the city council approved a program called Homeless to Work. And at that program, we actually partnered up with the Salvation Army, in which we go out as a team with city folks and also Salvation Army, and talk to the homeless people and do the wraparound services that they need and provide those services. If they need a place to stay, we're able to provide that through the Salvation Army. Also, we have a connection with a lot of our business people, also with Salvation Army, which if they're looking for a job training, that's provided through the Salvation Army. So it's you'll be able to take several people off the street and get them into some housing, but also some employment, so that they actually could have an income, so they could remain homeless. And also, just recently, the city council actually just yesterday approved a new program in which we're going to be allocating funding to help people that are on the margin, in which because of COVID-19, they might be unemployed right now and they might be losing their housing. I know there's an eviction moratorium that's in place, but this would actually help provide some funding to help on the rental assistance component of it, so that they have money to continue to pay the rent when it becomes due.
Michele, did you have something to say for the city of Perris?
Yes, and again, it's echoing what you've heard pretty much, but the issue is not unique to any one jurisdiction, and it is regionally addressed. But here locally in the city of Perris, we have wraparound services that include, we have contracted the Social Work Action Group So they're our first line and they're boots on the ground. They work with individuals experiencing homelessness and offer any available services and resources and try to connect those individuals with them, including mental health, substance abuse and addiction, and employment services. And then it's also a balancing act because we want the compassion component and the offer of services and information to individuals experiencing homelessness, but then we also want to hold our local businesses and residents and our local community in mind. So we also have, in conjunction with our contracted SWAG homeless service providers, we have our code enforcement with specific officers designated to homeless services, our POP team designated to quality of life issues, and the number one of which is homelessness. And then in the housing division, we work to make sure that the coordination among all of these different entities runs smoothly and the communication lines are open and the proper entity is called for whatever the situation is that needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Michelle. And once again, thank you to all of our panelists. We are at 11:30, and so we want to honor the time of our panelists and attendees. So I'm just going to go ahead and return the meeting to Walter Wilson. Any questions that were not answered, I will forward them directly to the appropriate city manager so that we can get those questions answered for our members, and you'll receive an email follow-up from me. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And Walter, I'll let you close us out.
Am I closing out, or is I have Norm on the schedule?
Or Norm, sorry. Go ahead. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody again for the great work this is, and I think we all enjoy this every year, and we'll see the panelists back next year. Norm?
Yes, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the staff at SRCAR. I want to thank our guests today. Thank our government affairs directors too. And I want to give, just a shout out to all the realtors out there. We work hard in our communities, and I just implore you to reach out to them in time of need, and also support your local realtors. Have people look to use our local realtors. So anyway, I want to thank you all again today. It was a great meeting, great education for everybody, and have a great day. Thanks again.